You know, I've heard the story of Abram moving to Canaan a bunch of times, but it wasn't until Jamie explained it like that it made me realize how big of a risk Abram actually had to take.
Yeah, during those times they didn't have any cell phones or internet to research where he was going to move to. Abram blindly followed God and trusted that he would fulfill his promises. Have you ever had to trust someone where you had no idea what was going to happen next?
Yeah, actually I have. I worked at a summer camp a few years back and I was asked to help lead a caving expedition. So I had to help all these kids go into little holes about this big underground. And you know what? Even though it was a little bit scary, I decided to trust the main leader and it ended up being a lot of fun.
That sounds so awesome, but I'll admit I'm a little bit claustrophobic and I'd definitely be scared. Let's watch this video where Catherine shares with us how she learned to trust God.
I love hanging out with friends. I love hiking. I love spending time with my family, with my dogs. I love camp. That's my favorite place. And I love sitting by the water. My parents got divorced when I was about 3 years old. It was really hard on me just not having my dad around. He was someone that was really special to me, and I felt like I never fully got to know him. And it was just a really tough time for all of us having that going on, and then my dad passed away. I started seeking attention in the wrong places, and I started trying to fill that void in a really negative way. And I started doing things that were going against who I was and who my mom was creating me to be, basically. I was introduced to the Underground. The Underground is the youth group at the church that I attend, and that's when the healing of this journey kind of began, and that's where ultimately I learned who God was, and I started being more interested in learning more about him. And that's when I came to the realization, he's my father, and even though I don't have an earthly father here, he's still there, and he gives me so much more than an actual dad could ever give me. I had to change a lot of the things that I was doing. I had to leave a lot of the friends that I had. Kind of facing high school on my own, and that's what the past 2 years have been, is just me kind of pushing forward, and there have been many down parts of it, and it's been hard, but through the help of people at youth and just the encouragement of the community around me outside of school, that's what's kept me moving forward. In high school, there's a lot of fakeness, I guess you could say, and there's not true friendships, and it's always a competition with everyone, and it's a lot of comparison. And I think that when I got to the Underground and people would just approach me and actually be interested in finding out who I was and tell me about your story, tell me about your life, I thought that was such a different experience, and I think that's what opened my eyes to true friendship and just the realness in people. And just knowing that people are there for you, and knowing that they care, and knowing that they love you regardless of the stuff you've done or the stuff you've been through. I love that about the Underground. And one thing that I've learned is that even if we can't see where God is going with things, it is 100% worth it, and his plan is ultimately bigger and greater than we could ever imagine it to be.
I think in one way or another, we can all relate to what Catherine went through.
Definitely. But what I love most is that she realized that God is her father and that she can trust him even though she doesn't have clear answers to what her future looks like.
Definitely, and that's a great place to be in. Why don't we go into our small groups now and talk about what that can look like in our own lives?